All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting edition of the Parental Playbook Podcast. And we have a very special guest with us today. I am your host, of course, Mark Hayes, the creator of VarsityConnects.com, which is a online learning platform and tool for parents of student athletes who wish to create a more supportive and more communicative environment for their student athletes. And I'm joined by my former teammate today, JC Thomas joins us from Gainesville, Florida. You in Gainesville, right? You home?
I am, sir. I am.
Good to see you, JC. Looking good, bruh.
Good to see you, Mr. Hayes.
Yes, sir. Good to be seen and not viewed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So tell me, did you go up to the bowl game for the Delaware Blue Hens?
I did. Just got back yesterday. Good trip, good experience, lovely time. They got the W. We good.
Yes, sir. It's all good. So
Yeah.
JC's son is Calvin Thomas, plays wide out for the Delaware Blue Hens. He's a freshman up there. Had an incredible senior season, huh? At Gainesville High School.
He did. He did. He surprised us all. I was like, where did that come from? But happy to see it.
Nice, nice. So tell us a little bit about the recruiting process and how he ended up at Delaware. Delaware was very popular in my neck of the woods up in Westchester County. Matter of fact, we ran the Delaware wing team when I was in high school.
Okay.
And so the Delaware coaches were very familiar with our high school program, recruited a couple kids from our high school. But it's a very good program.
Great program. I had no idea it existed until they came looking at him. And we had a couple different options that he was looking at. Uh, Some were military, which we didn't feel like he would be a good fit because we didn't think he was that type of dude. At this point, really wanted him. He thought for a second that he was going to sign with Air Force.
Okay.
So that he took the visit and everything, but still he was like, I don't know, Dad. But there were a couple others. So I really think he decided on Delaware because his girlfriend at the time was at Villanova,
Not too far away.
not 40 minutes away. So I was like, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. But at any rate, we did take the visit, and I was thoroughly impressed with the facilities, with the coaches, with the campus, just with everything. I was just like, okay, if you got to come here, that's not a bad thing. Uh, Plus, not too hard for us to get there from here, and and he was with it. So I was like, hey, go for it.
Yeah, yeah. A very competitive program. They've had some good success putting guys into the NFL. And when you look at their conference, man, it's good football.
Definitely good football. Again, I wasn't really privy to any of that until they started being interested in him. And then fast forward, he gets there. He goes up early, first of all, because they just finished up this semester, which most freshmen this would be their second semester coming up.
Okay.
But he's now a, uh, sophomore
Okay.
because he came in early.
Okay.
We were just really not knowing what they were all about.
Yeah.
But they've been on TV almost every week. They get a lot of pub. I like what they do media wise. They're on top of it. I just can't find any place to complain.
And as parents, we often look for opportunities to complain.
Right. You're not gonna get that from me. Not with University of Delaware right now.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good problem to have. You guys also got an opportunity to go play prime time out at University of Colorado, which is, a great experience, to have, Power Five teams on your schedule.
Definitely. I mean, that's a great look. I mean, you're getting exposure all across, and a lot of these players, let's just face it, playing on a team like Delaware, they want to get looks to go somewhere else.
Right.
So that's a great opportunity to do that. And again, the fact that they're on TV almost every week
Yep.
playing somebody.
Yep.
So I'm like, you're in a good spot, kid.
Right.
You're in a good spot. So just hang in there. I have to keep reassuring him at times, but I'm just like, you're in a good spot. Just chill. You're gonna be all right.
Yeah. So tell me about that reassurance because as a redshirt freshman this year, didn't see the field, had some injuries, had his tonsils out. How did you keep him positive with those phone calls, with those FaceTimes, with those Zoom meetings? Tell me a little bit about the tools you used, and if you don't mind sharing, what were the conversations like?
Well, we had again, we had those conversations where I knew he was down. I knew he was disappointed because, as far as he's concerned, he has something to prove.
Right.
And he went up early, so they got a chance to see him. He was able to participate in spring,
Okay.
so he was balling. And the
Mm.
coaches were like, "Oh, is that what you're doing?
Okay.
Okay, okay." And I could tell because they were shooting on the segments that they would post. I would see him in a lot of stuff. I'm like, "Yo, he getting catches. He making plays, and they running off the sideline because he just did this." And I'm like, "Okay, okay." So I knew, us being athletes, if they put that much effort into putting it out there, they're like, okay, yeah, we got us one.
Right.
So shortly after that, he's had these issues with his hamstring even in high school, but
Okay.
we couldn't really pinpoint what it was. And it was always something that he could just play through.
Okay.
So getting there, they kept reoccurring. And finally it was like, okay, I can't,
Right.
I got to do something.
Right.
So again, I'm like, you're at a great place to do that because now you have a training staff and you have tools that you didn't have in high school.
Right.
So let's get this fixed now.
Right.
You're fresh.
Hmm.
He went through something, I guess they call some type of needling. They where they kind of pull out almost like plasma or your blood, and they inject it directly into the hamstring.
Okay.
So that's one of the procedures that he did. And there was one other thing that they did to try to, you know, get him up and get him going. And he was, pretty serious bout of therapy, going to staying in the training room, doing these exercises. So he did all of that. And right on the tail end of that, when it was almost time for him to be released, his tonsils had to be removed.
Gosh.
So at that point, he's like, Dad,
Right.
I ain't gonna get no run. I'm trying to
Right.
get out there bad. And I could tell that he was worried about his spot because at this at this level, it's business.
Right.
It ain't Pop Warner. It ain't high school. You're not just on the team because you at the school. It don't
Right.
work like that. You know. Just last week he called me and said, Dad, my boy such and such got cut.
Ooh.
And I was like,
Letting people? Wow.
ooh. I was like, well, welcome to college football, son.
No
So
doubt.
now you understand that it's the business part of it. You got
Right.
to produce. Calvin was worried. He was worried when he had to go through the whole hamstring thing and then the tonsils thing. But the coaches were communicating with me saying, yo, texting me out of the blue saying, yo, tell Calvin he good with us.
Okay. Okay.
Tell him he's good with us. We just need him to do this, this, and this. And so I would just screenshot the text and send it to Calvin because a lot of times they don't want to hear what you say as a parent.
Right.
A lot of times they don't believe what you say as a parent.
Right.
But I'm like, this came from coach. This ain't me. This is
Right.
what he's saying. So, that helped out a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure that did a lot to allay his concerns and fears. You
Right.
we remember that, playing for a guy like Coach J, although it was a different atmosphere back in the 80s when we played. But now, like you said, it ain't show friends, it's show business. And, moving forward, you do have to produce. So tell me a little bit about, like you said, guys are trying to get looks. This whole play your way up kind of philosophy that high school kids need to embrace because of the transfer portal. So, did you guys have that conversation? Well, maybe we go to a service academy or go, to Western Kentucky, and then maybe we end up at Colorado, or we end up at Texas A&M, or we end up at Florida State. Did you guys consider that?
Yeah, we definitely had that conversation. That was an extensive conversation. Originally, he was mad at me because he's like, Dad, you should have held me back a year because a lot of his friends that are coming out this year that had this past year to play, they're the same age. but they were held back a year.
Okay.
So a couple of his boys that did that, one is now going signed with Florida, the other was going to Minnesota. They're getting paid pretty good to go to these schools, and my son's like, so he knows he's like, yo, that's my guy, but
Right.
I handle him on
Right.
stuff, you know. But we did have those conversations. We were at a bad school, and that's another subject. He went to PK Young. I probably shouldn't have said the name, but it's K through 12,
Okay.
and he started there in kindergarten, and I had to pull him out in 11th grade
Okay.
because I was unsure about the football program. I was unsure where the football program was going, if they were even going to have football the next year. So I
Wow.
couldn't take that chance.
Right.
So I had to move him somewhere else that I knew he could get looks. And plus, the competition that school was playing is not the competition that coaches want to see.
Right.
They're just like, that's kind of irrelevant. We need him playing
Right.
these people. So we moved him over to a larger city school,
Okay.
and we just took that chance, and it panned out. It panned out really well. So we did, like I said, have a conversation about a military school. Or fortunately, all of the schools that he was getting contacted by were D1.
Okay.
So it was just like, okay, what type of D1 do you want to go to? Whether that's, how stringent do you want that to be? But his thing was, I want the normal college atmosphere.
Yeah.
I want the normal college experience.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be in a dorm putting on blues or whatever and coming out to PT and all of that, because he was never raised that way. And we had to take you have to take that into consideration, because he go up to Colorado, and he's not happy. That's a long ways
Yes, sir.
to try to deal with a situation. But
Yes.
we did have those conversations.
Yeah, yeah. It's a prudent conversation, especially with a talented kid like him who has a lot of upside. And that's the problem with the portal now is that there are a lot of high school kids that are going to get missed. But we hope they're like your family having these conversations and say, hey, here's another opportunity for you to play your way up. And we see so many great stories of guys doing that now. Did you use, some examples of kids that were playing at smaller schools and then transferred up?
Not not really. I just continuously tell him, I'm like, dude, you are extremely blessed
Right.
to even get a look. Kids, because of the portal, are not getting looked at.
Yeah.
And for you to get looked at, you got to be a baller
Right.
nowadays. Because back when we were coming up, they'll take a chance on you. I mean, that's how you did it. But
Right.
now with the portal being so active, high school kids are being left out.
Right.
And they're not taking a mediocre high school kid.
Right.
You got to be balling. Even if you balling, you might go to I don't know. I'm not gonna say no names, but it's not Florida, it's not Tennessee, it's not LSU, but you still a baller.
No doubt.
So it's imperative that these kids understand it's getting tougher and tougher and tougher. And community college, a D2, D3 is the way. And if that's the only option, then hey,
That's it.
do what you do, show and prove on the field. They'll find you.
Right. Tell me something, JC. How do you help a parent understand that scenario right there? Because immediately parents want to say, oh, they're screwing my kid. But it's not an indictment on your child's ability, it's the system now, right? So
Yeah,
we got to help parents understand, you may have to go this route, but it doesn't mean your kid can't play.
yeah. It's tough. It's tough. It's hard to tell a parent that your kid is not that guy. you
Right.
know, and no pun intended, is no disrespect intended. You just know what you see as a coach. You know what they're looking for. You've been down that road yourself. You've seen the changes as to what's going on now, and you just telling a parent, "Hey, man, don't expect to get a letter from Florida or LSU, or that's not where he is." I was like, "But where he can play is over here,
Hmm.
and this might be the best route for him to develop some more skill.
Right.
Get his grades up, We keep forgetting a lot of if the grades are not there, there's an issue. They can't. This ain't when we were coming out, and they say, "Don't worry about them grades. We'll work it out." No, it's not like that. Part of the reason why I believe Calvin was recruited like he was because had a 4.3 GPA.
No doubt.
So they were like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." Okay, yeah, we good. So I just try to encourage them to. I'm always asking my players, "What your grades look like? What your grades look like? What your grades look like?"
Yeah.
And parents love their children. I get it. I love mine too. But sometimes you got to be realistic about where they really are in the grand scheme of things.
Right. The communication piece is critical.
Right.
When dealing with parents, sometimes the truth hurts. But getting parents to understand that they're doing more harm than good by constantly evaluating their kid instead of lifting them up can be a struggle. Do you have advice for parents in that vein?
I would say, let the coaches coach.
Mm.
At least on the field, let the coaches coach. Okay, let's just say that. Now, if you have an argument to be presented, that's fine. Catch him privately and do that.
Mm.
Don't do that while the game is going on.
Right.
Don't do that in practice in front of the other kids. That's a no-win situation.
Right.
That's enough. I just see so many parents cursing at the coaches during the game. Why y'all ain't put that boy in? Or y'all need to do this? Or why y'all keep doing that? Throw the ball. I'm like, yo, you actually think we're gonna listen to you?
Right.
you know, just pull them aside and do that. If you have any type of gripe that you might want to put out there, pull them aside and do that. Don't do it in front of everybody.
Right. Right. That's not productive. It's not going to
Not
help.
at all.
Tell me a little bit about, the feeling of going to the bowl game because I know, as a parent that watches kid play some college sports, man, people don't understand how good that feels when, you see your son with that smile on his face. Even though he
Yeah.
wasn't playing, I'm
Right.
sure he had a big old smile on his face.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of surreal, understanding that this time last year you was in high school. This time last year you was unsure as to where you were going. You were unsure if you were even going to be able to play college football. But I'm pulling out of Gainesville, hitting the road to go to Mobile, Alabama, a place which I've never been because my son playing in a bowl game that's going to be broadcast on ESPN. And I'm like, okay, this is really happening. This is really happening. And then to pull up to the field and see, you know, all of the stuff surrounding it, the banners, the vendors, and I'm like, okay, this is real.
Yeah, the
And
bowl
then
game.
we
Yes, sir.
got a bowl game, and then just to get there and just actually see him coming out with the team and on the sideline warming up, there is no better feeling. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what you raise them to do is to have those moments. And I mean, even though we ain't never go to no bowl game.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, we flew like maybe twice a year,
Right.
but that was the extent of our excitement, But them actually going to a bowl, staying the amount of days that they stayed, being able to go to the Mardi Gras, being a part of the Mardi Gras parade, going to a reception at Top Golf, going to view these historic monuments. I mean, they had them all over the place, doing all types of stuff.
Nice.
It's a great experience because there's no guarantee that you're gonna ever make it back to a bowl.
Exactly.
But it was a great experience and it was just great. There was no way I was gonna miss that. you
Yeah.
know. And like you say, even though he did not play, he was amped on the sideline and he looked like he could
Was.
play. He looked like a player though. I was like, he looked like a player.
There you go.
So his
So,
time will come.
yeah, so let me ask you this. Knowing that next to me, you were the best dressed guy on the game field.
Ah, okay. I'm gonna let you go with that.
Did you teach him how to spat it up, get the wrist right, get the towel, the gloves? I mean, do he look the part? You got to look the part, baby.
He definitely looks the part. I did not teach him. These kids don't think we know anything.
Isn't that crazy?
So, I try to, the things that I try to put on him and instill in him, I'm like, look, man, you don't understand. I was that guy, I mean, Hugo Boss suits and stuff like that. But, he's like, who's Hugo Boss?
Right.
And why are you wearing a suit in school, Dad? Or why? Yeah. So he doesn't get any of that.
Right.
So that's kind of what you're talking about. To be able to communicate with our kids nowadays, we have to really pay attention to what it is that they like and don't like.
Boom. Right there.
So, and we can only come at them, and we also have to be careful about how if you know your child, you know what they will respond to, and you know what they won't respond to.
Exactly.
So with Calvin, he's kind of a quiet kid,
Mhm.
and he doesn't really talk a whole bunch, but he'll let you know when he's ready to talk.
There you go.
He'll let you know when he's ready to talk. So with him, you just kind of got to pick a little bit. Hey, what did you think about that? Yeah. Well, how did that go? Yeah. Well, your boy got let go? Yeah, Dad. Then that was a conversation. That's what he wanted to talk about. And that's why I had to reassure him that, hey man, that's a good lesson for you. I hate that it was your boy,
Right.
but this ain't Pop Warner. This ain't high school. That's money.
Yeah.
So you got to perform at this point. Now you don't sign a scholarship and they go for 4 years. He
No.
had the reason why I wanted to bring him back with me from Alabama.
Hmm.
But no, he had to go back to have his exit interview to re up for the next year.
There you go.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And us as parents, we got to be able to recognize those differences and not keep forcing something that's archaic to them, understand it's a different time. Right.
Yes. You got all
Right.
these other things going on out there, social media, women, drugs, depression, anxiety. So much is going on in their lives. They really do need a rock,
Right.
to rely on. So yeah, JC, man, I want to thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your story. I also want to know, a little bit. I know your daughter had some health challenges, and you had to manage that as a father. I've been through some things, not health wise, but with my kids that were pretty serious, including incarceration and depression and thoughts of suicide. But you know, tell me a little bit about how you kept the family on firm footing. When your daughter was dealing with her health challenges, your son is not quite sure what's happening with football, and you're trying to keep it all together because, we go through stuff as families
Mhm.
and we got to fight through. And football is a great metaphor for life because we can draw on the adversity that we've been through the game. But, when you're dealing with a serious situation like yours, if you could share a little bit about how you powered through and kept the family on firm footing.
Well, a lot of people will always come out and say prayer was the thing which is true because I did kind of lean on social media
Mm,
for support
yeah.
because I was giving brief clips as to what was going on with her because so many people started following her story.
Yeah.
So that helped without putting too much out there
Mm,
because what she had was a rarity. It was something that you didn't hear about often, and it was still a lot unknown about it. So to see people sending their prayers, sending their comfort words of comfort, that helped. Also, her mom, my daughter's mom, and I, we weren't the best of friends, but
uh-huh.
that brought us together for our daughter. It's been, I don't know what, almost, she's 21. She just turned 21, but her mom and I were not talking for like 15 years, pretty much. And it
Hmm.
wasn't until we were sitting in the hospital room with our daughter in a coma that we said, she asked me, "Hey, can you unblock me from Facebook?"
Right.
But it's those type of things that kind of pulled through. Family definitely helped out a lot, knowing who could handle what. Like with Calvin, he's very sensitive about his sister.
Yeah.
So I had to be cautious how I brought him in. I didn't want him to see her in a coma with the wires coming from everywhere and her not being able to respond. That wasn't going to work
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
But, family was very supportive. Friends were supportive. I remember that was the first year that Warren and I did the thing in DC for Howard Homecoming.
Right.
And I was gonna pull out of that, but her mom was like, "No, you need to go because you need a break."
Mm.
And I reluctantly agreed and went. But I tell you, Mark, the thing that really got me was once I hit the yard, every other person was like, "Yo, how's your daughter? Yo, how's your daughter?" Now I haven't been to a homecoming in 15, 20 years
Right.
and haven't seen these people in that amount of time. But
Right.
yet and still, the first time I see them, they're like, "Yo, how's your daughter? How's your daughter?"
What a blessing.
So yeah, that's just kind of how I dealt with that. Just trying to keep in mind everyone and who can handle what. How can I be supportive to her mother? How can I be supportive to her grandmother? It's a lot, but you don't. It's something that you got to do,
Yeah.
and there is no handbook on how to handle that situation. So you kind of, like most things, through trial and error, and thankfully there weren't any errors made.
Nice. Nice, man. What a blessing, man. Thank you for sharing that. Um, when it's your child suffering, you just feel so helpless.
Right? There's nothing like it.
No, no, there is nothing like it. Puts everything in perspective. Um, there's so many things you want to do, but there's nothing you can do. And that's what parents have to come to grips with. Sometimes it's out of your control, and sometimes it has to play itself out. And that's the same with the game. But with the game, like you and I, we may not have gone pro, but we are professionals.
Right. Right.
And that's what we need to keep, firmly in our view is that they're always going to be our sons and daughters. They may not always be football players or basketball players or softball players, but they will always be our sons and daughters that we will love, until we.
Let me just add this one thing.
Yep.
When Calvin went off to school, I made it explicitly clear to him. I say, "Look, you are going here for education first, a degree first.
Word.
Football is a strong second." And that's when you asked me earlier about parents and leading their kids in certain direction when it comes to life after high school, going to college. I don't think a lot of times they don't put enough emphasis on the academic part of things.
Yeah.
Let's not sleep on that. Please don't sleep on that. The fact that one of the most comforting things that I could tell Calvin since he's being redshirted is, "Hey, you got that extra year. Now you can finish up undergrad and start grad the first year of grad on them."
Yep.
That's the way you need to be looking at it because, like you say, football, like, it's a very small number of cats gonna go pro.
Yep.
Let's
We
be
could
honest about that.
we could count them off our team back then
Right.
on one
Exactly.
hand every
Yeah.
year,
Exactly.
two,
Right.
maybe.
Right. Right.
So
So,
yeah,
you
man.
know,
And it's even more competitive now, I think, JC.
definitely it is. You got
Even
some freaks running out.
yeah. It's a different world now. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. Well, I'm so happy for you and your family, man. I was so happy when I saw that he signed with Delaware, because I was familiar with the program and I did follow your daughter's story on social media. So, I'm glad that you were able to use those prayers and those words of comfort to help move your family forward, man, because that's what it's about, man. And the HBCU experience that you felt at homecoming is another component that we have, you know,
Right.
that may be a little different than a PWI. So, I still tell parents today, consider it HBCU. It's a different
Right.
experience, but you know what? I wouldn't have traded it for anything.
You're right.
No.
Neither would I.
Yeah. So, man. Well, thanks so much for your time, JC, man. I'm gonna let you go and get back to it, bruh.
All
And
right, man. I appreciate you.
yeah, let's not make it so long next time, man, before we catch up.
Hey, I got to get you to a game next year. Let's do
Yes,
it.
sir. I'll do it,
All
bruh.
right.
You ain't said nothing but a word.
Bet.
Hit me with the schedule, bro. We'll put it
I
on.
got you.
All right, my
I
friend.
got you.
See you
All right,
soon.
man.
All right.
Yep. Bye.
All right, bro. Good stuff.
All right. We're good.
Yes, sir. We should be.
All
Hold on.
right.
Let me make sure we upload it. Okay. Okay, I got you. All right, man. I'll send you the link soon as I load it up.
All right. Sounds good, man. Good seeing you.
Yes, sir. Same here. We'll talk
All
soon.
right.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Peace.
Bye.
It's gonna be about an hour before the chicken is ready. So it's up to you. Hey, are y'all still on the call?